Hi YouTubers, OldRadioAl here on a cold morning. 0 out. It's 17 below with the chill factor. Anyway, this is a video I've wanted to make for a while now. Just for one reason or another I haven't, but decided it was time to go ahead and do it. You know, most of the time I try to make my videos a little bit educational as well as you know, try to make them a little entertaining. I don't know if I always succeed at that, but anyway, today I want to talk about plastic, or types of plastic, kind of in the broadest sense. I don't know if some of these could actually be called plastic, but anyway, here goes. This is a Bakelite set. Bakelite, I don't know, you know, how much you guys know about, you know, Bakelite is Bakelite, but what Bakelite is it's made out of phenyl formaldehyde. You know, that same stuff you put your frogs in high school. It's made of phenyl formaldehyde and fillers. It has various types of fillers in it, and different companies use different fillers, not always consistent from, you know, batch of radios to batch of radios. The joke was they swept the floor and put the leavings in the vat, and that is more true than not. They use things like sawdust and ground asbestos. So one thing I do suggest is if you ever do any cabinet work, make sure you wear a mask if you're doing any kind of sanding or anything on these, and I have done that in the past with some of these radios. I don't think I've ever done a video on this radio. I'm going to have to do that one of these days. This cabinet really turned out nice. I have to tell you how I make them, you know, bring the shine back to them. But anyway, that's what Bakelite is. As you know, it came basically in different shades of brown and in black. There are some black Bakelites, and then there are the painted variety. You know, you often see like an ivory, and then later on they started really painting up some Bakelite cabinets. The most noticeable or notable that I could think of would be like the Crosley dashboard models. Those came in some pretty wide variety of colors. So that's Bakelite. Another type of the plastics, early plastics they used, was called Plascon, and that was made from a different type of formaldehyde. It's urea formaldehyde, and they used much more of the formaldehyde and less of the filler material in making Plascons. I don't really have a Plascon, but I will show you some Plascon. I have a set that has some Plascon in it, and the most popular color of those seem to be white. There's also the modern plastics, you know, the polymers, of course, and they could do, like on this little DeWalt, they could do a lot of different things. This has some marbling in it, you know, and you can usually tell the plastics because the case seems to be much thinner. You can tell just by tapping on them. Another plastic material they used in vintage radios was one we talked about before. It's the cellulose based, you know, cellulose being a wood product, tinite. This part of this Philco is tenite. As far as I know, they never made a radio cabinet constructed only of tenite. It's a softer plastic, and it's very subject to heat and shrinkage. You know, this grill on this one is in excellent shape. You can see there's a little bit of heat damage to it, but for the most part this one is in excellent shape. You know, for tenite. The radio I'm going to show you today is a different kind of plastic, and then chemically it's the same as Bakelite. It's phenylformaldehyde, but these are pure phenylformaldehyde. There are no fillers in them. This is you've probably heard of a Catalin set. This happens to be an Emerson. It's a model 520. Anyway, Catalin was initially, you know, when these radios were new, it was the cheapest of the cheap. You know, they sold for less than any of the plastic radios did. And ironically, now they're the most expensive. You will commonly see on eBay and elsewhere, anywhere radios are sold, you'll see Catalin sets going for as much as a couple $1,000s for a table radio, and that's just ridiculous to me, but it's the way it is. They're rare. They haven't survived as well. This one is in very good condition. This one also happens to be one of the more commonly found. They were mass produced. We'll get into that a little bit later. Catalin being, you know, purely just the phenylformaldehyde, you know, pressure molded. They could do a lot of things. You see Catalin sets in some really wild and beautiful colors. This one is just basically a brownish mahogany type, but you can see the marbling in the cabinet. Very shiny. And a quick way to tell if a cabinet is plastic or if it's Bakelite or Catalin is if you shine a flashlight through this cabinet, you can clearly see the light emanating from it. It is a very pretty cabinet. Just nice. Anyway, I was talking earlier about Plascon. This Emerson, this grill material is made of Plascon. You know, just an ivory colored plastic. This is a pretty common design for a Emerson of that era, that square grill. And the dials are pretty common Emerson type. The knobs are very definitely, those are Emerson specific. You see those on a lot of Emerson radios. There aren't a lot of Catalin radios on YouTube for some reason. I'm not sure why, other than, you know, the expense of the things. This is actually, I think I might have said that, I'm not sure, but this is one of the cheaper Catalins. As I said, they're pretty common, so they don't sulfur as much. Probably because it has the Plascon grill instead of being pure Catalin. It's an Emerson 520. This is from 1946. And the reason these are not very rare is that they just made a bunch of them. They made these in like 9 different variations, all in this one model year. You know, this one has octal tubes, but there was also a chassis using miniature tubes. And even among the octal tube ones, there's different tube lineups in them. As you guys know, coming back into production after the war, the radio companies used what materials they had at hand, which, resulted in some odd variations like this, different variations of the same radio. Some of these radios had different types of tubes in the same chassis. I showed you a radio earlier, a Lear that had, both octal and miniature tubes in it. The other variation in these was the dial. They came in black, gold, and blue, and I've heard this called green because they've faded a little bit, but it was blue. Just a garden variety All-American 5. It's a broadcast only. Nothing really flashy about the chassis, that's for sure. I don't remember anything remarkable in restoring this set, other than they glued the screws in for some reason. I had a devil of a time getting them out. Just somebody glued them in. Some horse paid the price for that. One distinction that this radio does have is this was the very last Catalin radio produced by Emerson. Alright guys, let's give this set a listen. Oh yeah, my new advisor, QP John, he wasn't crazy about me making this video. He says if it ain't wood, it ain't good. So he's hanging out back there by that wood cabinet Zenith. Apparently he likes blondes. Okay, let's see what's playing. It's not the best sounding radio. It needs a new speaker.
I want a little Just a little boy to fall in love with me.
Thanks for bearing with me, those of you that made it to the end of this. A lot to talk about with plastics, I guess. I'm going to borrow a line from Dennis Carter and say thanks for watching, and thanks to all my subscribers, you know, the old faithfuls and the new ones. In large part, you know, I've had a surge in viewers lately, and in large part I'm sure that they were attracted by the, you know, ongoing shenanigans back and forth between the other John, not Cupid John, but Mr. Joe Earn One and I. He was outed his real name by Greg Van Beek on the radio program. If you listen to that, I'm sure you caught that. And he mentioned me on Nostalgia Radio Time. John, checks in the mail. So, as always, guys, more radios on the way. It's Lavay Smith and her red hot Skillet liquors.
To fall in love with